In this video, we're going to continue the example from last time, but we're going to actually do an application involving some of the string processing functions that we saw. Also, I should point out that I have moved from Visual Studio version 2012 to version 2017 for this video, so it might look a little bit different. Let's take the program from last time. So we had the sentence specified here, which just says, CS121 meets from 11:20 to 12:30 Monday, Wednesday. And I have another variable here, which is actually called esetness or esetnetness, which is sentence spelled backwards. So what we're going to do is write just a little loop and then a function that will reverse this sentence, and this will use some of the functions that we just saw in the previous video. Well, this already has a cout for string processing functions, and it also has an out statement for reverse the sentence. Now, let's go ahead and write the code to do that. And before we do an external function, let's just do this internally with a loop here. Now, the way that I want to do this is I want to develop from scratch, that is, this variable. Let's undo that. This variable, esetnetness, has nothing in it, so it just has null to begin with. So my procedure is going to be to go to the far right side of this sentence, and I'm going to pick up the characters one at a time, and as I do, I'm going to append them to the variable esetnetness, the reverse of sentence. So I'll pull off the period, the y, the a, the d, the s, and so on, and then I'll just append them to the beginning of this variable here. So to do that, I need a counter that's going to start on the far right, which will be the length of the sentence, and that should be a length of the sentence minus 1 if I want to use the index or the at function to get to that. All right, well, let's begin. Well, to set this up, let's go ahead and give a starting position. Okay, so the position is just going to be the length of our sentence. So we know that is sentence.length with the pair of parentheses. And that gives the total number of characters. But as we know, the index starts at 0 and goes up to the number of characters minus 1. So to have the proper starting index, I need to do a minus 1 right there. All right, so that initializes position. And then we'll just decrease it as we go back towards the beginning of the sentence. Okay, now we have a loop. So let's use a while loop for this. So we'll have while position is greater than or equal to 0. So we keep moving from some value. The sentence is 50-something characters, so it'll go back towards 0. So when we reach 0, we'll be at the very beginning. We want to process that character, then we'll be finished. Okay, so let's put in our curly braces. And then what we'll do, and I'm going to expand this a little bit. I could combine some of these statements, but I'll do this hopefully to make it more clear like this. So let's pull out a letter. Okay, so letter is just a type character, and that's going to be equal to sentence, and then I'll use the at function for this, sentence.at, and in parentheses position, close parentheses. All right, now that's going to begin with, that's going to get the rightmost position. That is going to get the period, in other words. Now once I have that letter, I want to concatenate that onto my reversed sentence. And so that we can see what we're doing, let's print these characters out as I pull them in. So let's do cout, okay, double quote letter is equal to double quote and another output, okay, letter like that. And let's print out the position. So let's do double quote again here, at position, and then let's print out the position. So we'll see the index as well. Okay, so P-O-S-I-T. And then we can just go ahead and terminate the line with that. So this lets us see each movement of each letter as we go through this loop. All right, well, now that we're here, let's just go ahead and do the concatenation. Okay, so esetnetnes is equal to esetnes, and of course, for those of you who know how, you can do a plus equals here. and then we'll concatenate that with the plus and letter. All right, so this will do the concatenation, where in this instance, since we're dealing with characters, then the plus will be interpreted as a concatenation operator instead of adding. So we're doing concatenation. Now, the only thing left is to decrement our index, which is position. Position minus minus, and semicolon, and that will do it. All right, so this little loop then with this initial value for position should take care of reversing the sentence. I already have a cout statement below the loop, which is going to print out the reverse sentence is, and then it prints out the reverse sentence. So that should be good to go. Now, let's go ahead and compile and run this program. Here we see the output. Now we have this output statement in the middle of the loop, so you can see what we get here. Okay, so letter equals dot, and look at that. I have run together my output statements. So you see the period, then you see the at, and there should be a space between those. I'll fix that next time through. But if you look down this column, you see the dot, the Y-A-D-S-E-N-D. So you see the reverse of Wednesday showing up here, and you can see the positions. It starts at position 56 on the far right-hand side, where we get the dot, and it decreases as we go down. Now, as we go through the loop, we pull each character from the right-hand side. We concatenate that onto our reverse sentence, and then at the bottom, you can see that we have dot and Wednesday reversed, and the rest of the sentence now is reversed. So that was the purpose of that execution. Now, let's go a little bit further, and let's turn this reverse operation into a function. At the bottom of the program, you'll see that I already have written in some comments at the very bottom for a placeholder where I want to put the function called reverse it. So this will be easy, and in fact I could just take the same code I did inside the main program, but I'll do a different version here just to show you a different approach for this. Alright, now this function is going to need to return a reversed version of the sentence. Therefore, it's going to return a string. Okay, so the type of the function is going to be string, and I'm going to name the function reverse it. Okay, my system's operating a little slowly. Alright, let's fix that. Okay, string is the type, and I'm going to name it reverse it. The function, the only thing it needs is the input string. Alright, so I'm going to give an input formal argument string, and I'll call it line. Right, then we'll have our curly braces for the function. Now in this case, I want to use a for loop. Right? So let's see what I can do here. I need to be able to return a reversed version. So I'm going to make another string variable, which I'm going to call invert_line. And I'll just initialize it to the null string. That's where I'm going to build up the reversed line. All right, now I can just, well, I do need a position here, so let's do int position is equal to 0 to begin with. And this time I will use a for loop. All right, now what I want to do this time is the same kind of thing, except I'm just going to embed the code into the for loop itself, which would be a little bit complex. So here we go. So for, okay, position again is going to be set to the end of the sentence. So position is the same as before, except this time the input variable for the function is called line. So it's line.length parentheses -1. So that's the initial value for position. And as long as the position is greater than or equals 0, I want to stay in the loop. And then we'll decrement position on the end, like that. Okay, now those are the constraints. So inside the for loop, let's put our double brackets in here. And I want to build up the line. Now I'm going to save a few lines of code this time and just directly put the code here for the invert line. So invert underscore line, and this time I'll use plus equals. Okay, let's make that L-I-N-E. Okay, so invert underscore line, okay, plus equals the character that I'm pulling from the far right hand side. So that's just line dot at position and semicolon. Now that's all I really need in order to do this. I already have the decrement operator up here in the for loop. Okay, so up there. So that's taken care of. This for loop then will take the characters from line starting at the rightmost position and then just concatenating those onto invert line, which I've declared inside the function here. That's all we need. Then we can just return that. So we return invert line. And we're done. Or are we done with the function at least? Now, in order to use the function, of course, we would need to take the prototype. So we need to create a prototype. So I'm going to copy this line at the very top. And I'm having a hard time doing that. Let's see. My mouse is being uncooperative. Alright, that got it. Copy that. Scroll to the top, and let's drop our prototypes up above our main program, as we know. So let's paste that in and put a semicolon there. Okay, so now we have the prototype, we have the function, and now let's reverse the function again by calling our function. All right, so this time ECNETNES is equal to reverse it, and we'll send in the regular sentence spelled in the right direction. All right, so we call the function, and we give it the variable sentence, and then when we come back, we can output the value here, and let's say double quote from function. Now let's spell that correctly. F-U-N-C-T-I-O-N. Say from function reverse it. The reversed sentence is, and then let's go to new line. Okay, let's put the quote in the right place, and we'll go to a new line, and we'll just write out sentence. All right, now I think that should do it. So we will call the function here, and we'll send it the variable sentence. The function will do the reversing for us, return it in the variable ECNetness, and then we'll just print out the reverse sentence that we get there. So we're going to see this sentence output twice. And while I'm here, I want to go back to the previous loop, the while loop, and let's put a space in front of the at so that we'll separate that from the actual letter that we get each time. All right, now I'm going to build and run the program again. Now you see the output. The first information on the screen is going to be from the while loop that we had. The first information is going to be from the while loop that you see here on the screen, but this time I've put a space between the actual character we extract and the word at, so now that it's a little neater. And as we scroll down, then you can see all of the action taking place one character at a time, and then we have the reverse sentence. Then at the very bottom, you can see that we have called the function. So from function reverse it, the reverse sentence is, and that is not the reverse sentence. Okay, so that's a mistake. I need to go back and print out the reversed variable, not the one that I sent in. All right, so let's fix this real quick. I printed out the wrong thing. I printed out the regular sentence, as you can see here, instead of the reverse sentence. So let's quickly fix that. Here we go. We have the output now. Once again, we have the output from the while loop. And then below that, we have the call to the function. And this time at the very bottom, you can see that the function does return the reversed line. And I did print out the correct variable this time, ECNetness, which is the variable containing the reversed sentence returned from the function. So this shows you two techniques that you can use. So here's a while loop that will do the reverse it, and here's a function. Now this is something that you might want to put in your toolkit. That might be something handy. You might often, or at some point, you might want to reuse this little reverse it function. It might come in handy sometime. At any rate, that's a little application that illustrates how to use a couple of our string processing functions, and that will conclude this video.